This video documents the story of the Tsuka token. It is not a complete story, but the story so far. And to tell this story, we have to tell a few others first. About the crypto bull run that began rumbling in 2020, and about a little anonymously launched token that had one of the biggest runs in the history of crypto, SHIB. The crypto markets are an odd place, one dominated by narratives, anonymous users, and incredible price volatility. Many thought the collapse of the price of Bitcoin in 2017 meant the end. Instead, by 2020, the industry had grown bigger, more complex, and more valid. Venture capitalists were pouring money into companies trying new things with blockchain that could solve real-world problems with more efficiency, lower costs, and better-kept records. These tokens define what's called DeFi, decentralized finance, and DeFi was the dominant narrative from 2020 through late 2021. But if you put the narrative aside, you see that many of these tokens launched with dynamics that are not in favor of an investor. VCs are able to buy tokens ahead of launch for cheap and stand to gain the most financially. The companies themselves often sell tokens to maintain operations, and that's probably being generous. This bull run saw a high of $3 trillion in the total crypto market, and much of that money was abused primarily due to the core mechanics of the token contracts themselves. By early 2021, mass hysteria had set in. Buying was relentless. The masses were here, taking over TikTok and YouTube and timelines everywhere. This time was different, they said. And then in November 2021, Bitcoin hit $69,000 and proceeded to bleed all the way down below 20K, all the way until July 2022. But let's back up. In August 2020, a very simple token contract is launched on the Ethereum network by an anonymous person known as Ryoshi. The token is called Shiba Inu. It's launched with $3,000 in liquidity, which is practically nothing. Some say Vitalik Buterin donated the liquidity to Ryoshi after meeting him in Osaka, Japan. This token had no pre-sales, no insiders, no dev wallets. In many ways, it was pure, in stark contrast to the dominant narrative tokens. So what do we know about Ryoshi? Ryoshi has demonstrated through his actions humbleness and humility. With SHIB, the humble origins created a dedicated community that, over time, grew exponentially, and unlike other tokens that were ripe for abuse, there was no leverage here. Everyone was on equal footing, had equal opportunity to take part. And because of this little 3K liquidity token grew all the way to a $40 billion market cap in October 2021. Whoa. SHIB was community-driven, and during the course of its origins, many community members became team members, folks like Shibarium and Satoshi. Some disagreed with Satoshi's methods, using SHIB as a brand to launch products and tokens that did little to benefit SHIB holders. In now-deleted posts from May 30th, Ryoshi himself displayed disappointment. A split was taking place behind the scenes as ideologies waged war. And on May 30th, 2022, Ryoshi deletes all of his posts on Twitter, all of his mediums on SHIB, and changes his profile picture to Milarepa, a master yogi from over 900 years ago. And 4 days prior, an unknown token launches on Ethereum with no tax, no presale, no dev wallets, and about 3K in liquidity called Tsuka. In this section, we will attribute why we believe Ryoshi Research made the Tsuka token, aside from the similarities in methods of launching. Alongside the launch of this token, on-chain messages began being deployed by the Tsuka token deployer. A token deployer is essentially the wallet that created the token, so we know these messages come directly from the developer. These messages, being on blockchain, cannot be altered or modified. The timestamps are permanent. These messages contain alpha and clues that have now foreshadowed several events that came to pass. For simplicity, I am going to identify the key clues linking Tsuka and Ryoshi. Clue number 1. Tsuka is a cipher of Sengyan Haruka, the author of Life of Milarepa. Milarepa was the first enlightened Tibetan Buddhist master, and Ryoshi Research adopted his image on May 30th. Tsuka token launched May 26th. Clue number 2. On May 28th, Ryoshi messaged on-chain 1143. While there are no hard dates on when Milarepa was born or died, 1143 is one of the common years he was believed to have passed. Clue number 3. On the same day, 2 messages in a row used a specific amount of ether, 0.0001144. 1144, 1144, is another year believed to be Milarepa's passing. Clue number 4. On May 29th, the deployer uses 0.0001969 ether. 1969 is the year of the Shiba Koken art exhibition, one Ryoshi himself has referenced with the creation of Sheep coin. Ryoshi and double meanings are synonymous. This art exhibition showcased a piece that Ryoshi used in his infamous I Am Ryoshi medium, which was posted on the exact same day, May 29th, 1 year prior. Clue number 5. None of the above clues were put together until a message on June 11th, which stated, "Sengyon is right if you listen." This was the key he gave us to go back and discover the meaning of the name Tsuka, discover the Milarepa connection, and discover the connection to Ryoshi, all in messages that took place before Ryoshi's profile change. Wild, isn't it? This shows meticulous planning, attention to detail, and makes it difficult to argue this is not Ryoshi. The odds of guessing Ryoshi would signal attention to Milarepa via his Twitter, not once but several times, are so astronomically low I can't even calculate them. Then, on May 30th, around the same time Ryoshi deletes all of his mediums on Sheeb and every post on Twitter, the deployer spits out another message. "I need nothing. I seek nothing. I desire." Good thing about this message is it can't be deleted. In the May 30th message, the developer is using an infamous Milarepa quote, "I need nothing, I seek nothing, I desire nothing," except it's missing the third nothing. The community begins noticing a pattern of words being used incorrectly, odd capitalizations, and syntax. For example, 2 messages contain "don't" with a space instead of "don't." We know these mean something, but what? The details of this next section are best explained in our medium, and we recommend you reading the process and methodology used in cracking an incredibly complex cipher hidden in the messages. This cipher led us to a seed phrase, which gave us access to a huge set of wallets. We are still processing what these wallets mean. The medium on these wallets is linked below. The important takeaway here is that Tsuka is developed by someone of true genius. These are not simple codes and ciphers. The community is still working towards several aspects of this and invites anyone watching to join our research. Ryoshi's name is Ryoshi Research after all, and this is what he is asking us to do, to work together on these messages. Let's talk about why Milarepa and Sengyon may be important to Ryoshi. Sengyon Haruka was a writer and master of Tibetan Buddhism, his most famous work being Life of Milarepa, which documented a profound Tibetan Siddha named Milarepa. Milarepa's life journey is a story of the utmost redemption. As a young man, Milarepa in his rage murders everyone in his village, an act of revenge for being deprived of wealth. Facing immense sorrow at his deeds, he sought Buddhist teachings, and by the time of his death he had become a fully realized yogi. He had attained enlightenment and carried many Buddhist teachings forward to new audiences. Milarepa is one of the most important figures in Tibetan history, bringing the lessons of India to Tibet and defining Buddhism for centuries to come. When we consider Sheeb's humble beginnings and where it went, we can infer that Ryoshi may have ended up somewhere with Sheeb he had not intended. We highlighted earlier the known bickering between Ryoshi and the remaining Sheeb leadership. Some experts in the Sheeb community believe Ryoshi left the project May 30th, 2021, a to-the-date exact full year from his profile picture change on Twitter. Something that may have toiled in his mind is, how do you build something new without destroying the community that made you? And if you do hurt that community, can you still achieve enlightenment? Milarepa did. Milarepa brought the message of Buddhism to Tibet, and it was too important to not be done, even if some would doubt him or his intention. So what is Ryoshi's message? Ryoshi is a decentralization purist. He believes that no one person is more valuable than another, and that when power becomes consolidated, it becomes disingenuous. The Sheeb token has become less about decentralization and more about a brand, a launchpad for various products and tokens that don't benefit the community. They dilute the community and put money in the pockets of the SHIB leadership. This was never his dream or goal. The formation of a crypto community can be thought of nothing less than absolute chaos. But through this chaos, beautiful things do happen. It takes immense pressure to forge a gem, cataclysmic forces. Soon, the community leadership looks less like shitcoin shillers and more like a group of anonymous, decentralized researchers, dedicated to piecing together the clues and puzzles in the messages. There were many things that stood out on-chain. A screenshot of $155 million, messages of funding secured, a shout-out to certain crypto Twitter influencers, including Bitlord, who also claims to have had lunch with Ryoshi around the time of the message. There is a message directed at CZ from Binance stating, "Remember our conversation at the casino in Macau?" Capitalized letters that spell out Ryoshi's dream is, and that's all we have so far. And then finally, the ciphers, leading us to a seed phrase. So all this said, you might be wondering, why doesn't Ryoshi make it plain? Why doesn't he simply tweet today that he made Tsuka? In our view, this would destabilize the project and compromise the inherent goal. Ryoshi knows the power of his influence. If his goal is to build a truly decentralized project, he can't let it be owned by those simply buying for his name, Ryoshi Research. This project is meant for the researchers, the diggers. Some of us in crypto are most excited by the clues and their meaning. So, Ryoshi has created an infinite well for us to draw from. Because of this, there is no sell the news event. And if he ever did tweet about Tsuka, every exchange on Earth would be vying for the token and would have to market buy their share. Since mid-June, the total supply has dwindled on Uniswap, hovering between 2 and 4%. Now imagine billions of dollars squeezing into what's left of the supply, and you have the greatest supply shock in the world. With that in mind, yes, we do believe Ryoshi will make it clear. On June 4th, he messaged, "When I show my hand, there will be no questions. I am a fisherman, but do not cast for red herring." He is saying that he will show his hand, and there will be no question it is him. Ryoshi means fisherman in Japanese, and red herring typically implies a distraction. So we take this to mean that everything presented to us is deliberate and every word intentional. Due to the way the contract was launched, the strength of the community, and the belief in who made it, there is little reason to think Tsuka doesn't have a multi-year run into the billions. SHIB hit a 40 billion market cap. What could a project that takes the best lessons from SHIB, adds new pillars for strong community building by teaching Buddhist tenets like patience, possibly achieve? We are along for the journey. The journey is the destination.